Good. So, hello to everybody that has just started or just come in. I'm Sharon Ann Lovegrove. I'm an author, evolutionary midwife, and mental fitness coach. And I work with professional women who suffer with imposter syndrome, who are stressed, overwhelmed, and depleted because everything they do and are must be perfect. And they have so much anxiety about being found out that they're continuously trying to control themselves, their environment, and others to avoid detection. But this sets them up for the fall because it's never a matter of if, but when things are going to go wrong. Because life is just that, not perfect. So I help them develop mental fitness to confidently take back sovereign control, tame their mean inner critic, and embrace wholeheartedly their perfect, imperfect self. And actually, who doesn't want to just love themselves? I had someone tell me today when she was little, she used to look at her pictures as a child and really love to see those pictures. And I must admit, when I look at my inner child or my younger self, I actually really like looking at my own pictures. And I often think, what a beautiful child you are. And actually, this is really interesting because as little children, as little beings, we are always recognizing ourselves. And we get really excited when we see ourselves. And it's only when we get older that all the other stuff creeps in and we stop looking at ourselves with the same delight as we used to. So today we're going to talk about how to evolve yourself and give yourself an amazing lifestyle. So I thought I'd start with an Oxford Dictionary definition, which evolve means to develop gradually, to come forth into being. It also about is giving off or emitting a substance such as odours, vapours. What was the one that the ancient Greeks used to call it? The mist. Develop a new concept, or in biology, develop a new species or an adapted condition. So most of our humans evolved from arboreal monkeys. Yes, we were arboreal, which means we climbed trees because we've got long arms. So the general meaning of evolution means coming outward, okay, coming from inside out, emerging outward, all right? So in this context, it's good to see it as ourselves as an energetic being, because that's how life revolves around. It evolves around energy. Yeah, it evolves around energy. So if we think about evolve and we're thinking about around, I don't know, if you think about the word itself, you kind of think about evolve and revolve. It's almost like we're in this constant movement of moving from simplicity to complexity, simplicity to complexity, simplicity to complexity. And, as we grow, we were once a cell, and as we grew, we got many, many, many more cells. Yeah. So we became more complex, but our initial start was very, very, very simple. So where am I going with that? Well, we have to think about the idea that if this is about energy and energy expenditure and energy outpouring, as we become more complex, we can pour more energy out. So energy is at the heart of everything, the heart of all things. Yeah, not just humans, but all things. So when we think about things like non-organic things or non-living things, we kind of go, well, yeah, is that really energetic? Well, yeah, our phone runs on charge and it's solid because the charges are closely bonded together. So we look at it and we can have the illusion of it being solid, but it isn't fixed. It isn't solid at all. We just experience it as solid. And that is both a blessing and a curse. So why is that? Why is it both a blessing and a curse? Have you considered that? Well, my thinking is that it's a blessing because as humans, when we are born in this world and we come as a child, we don't have the connections that have made concepts yet, right? So we are spending so much of our time trying to make what we would call groupings, right? So this becomes a grouping sort of thing. And that creates stability, but that also creates a commonality for everyone. And it also helps us know we're not going mad, yeah? But if we're little and we don't know what this is, then there's endless possibility, isn't there? There's endless possibility that can go on with it. So maybe another example of this is thinking about when the Spanish first went to South America. What happened was that the people weren't able to see the ships. They couldn't see the sails on the horizon. And it was only until the magic men, or the wizards, not the wizards, but the magic men or the priests actually showed them how to look, that they actually saw the ships, right? So why does that happen? Why does that happen? How come it's blatant, it's there for us to see, that we can't see it? Well, it's because we can't pattern match, yeah? We have nothing with which, a template with which to form the pattern. And so now we have to learn to create a pattern so that we can see. While I was doing this, I was thinking to myself, why am I going down this route? You might be thinking that too. Why? Where does this fit in with evolve? Well, I must admit, it gets a bit complicated coming up with a new thing about different parts like evolve. How many times can you talk about evolve? Well, you have to find some. So the route I'm going today is, have you ever had someone that is so rational that there is no give? Have you ever had that situation? They're so smart that they can talk you out of believing what you know. Well, this happened to me when I was 12. And, you know, this was someone separate from my parents, was my uncle. And he was really a self-professed Christian. And yeah, not the nicest soul in the world. I mean, obviously badly damaged in a way, similarly to my mother. And he read the Bible and he decided his interpretation of the Bible was the only interpretation that was right. And one particular time we were going to a shop and we were coming back a long journey back, 30 miles back. And in that time, I actually was just really, I was saying a little prayer. And then, of course, my uncle decided that actually I was a heathen because I was doing idolatry. I was praying to Mother Mary. And he good as told me I was going to go to hell. And when that happened, I mean, being 12, it was pretty hard to hear that everything that you believe is absolutely rubbish. And it's pretty hard to hold on to something when someone is so rational about how they've come to this conclusion. And of course, at 12, we don't come up to those types of rational conclusions. We can only do that later. So, but there was some truth because he picked up words which were like, well, you pray to a statue. Well, is that not praying to an idol? So it kind of shook me a little bit. And on one level, you know, understanding why it shook me was because at some level there was truth. I was blindly trusting. And then there was this bit of truth that came a chink in my armor and a chink in my faith. And on the one hand, yes, it was good. Probably awakened me to really starting to kind of rethink what I believed and what I what I felt to be true, but also it was very cruel, of course, because it really put me into chaos for quite a while. And, you know, I started to doubt when I prayed, because I started to doubt that God was not there, the God that I knew. And I also knew that if I wanted to pray to Mother Mary, which I wanted to, I'd be defying God, because I would be praying to an idol. So what happened was I really kind of had this schism inside me, and it's taken a long, long time to bring that back to me. But what happens when we turn on ourselves, when we use that rational part of mind on ourselves, when we have that internal critical voice that kind of really starts to destroy us, is we lose connection. Yeah, we lose connection. And what happens is we start, even though with the best of intention, we disconnect. We disconnect from that higher power. We disconnect from our soul. That is the individual aspect of God. And this can be really very hard. Very hard, because now we can't see that we're living in a life positive universe. So can you imagine that? So when we disconnect, we feel the lack. And when we feel the lack, we have to fill in. And how we fill it in is with our cognitive mind, our rational mind. And we start to give negativity there, and we start to attack. And so this then means that we go on a rampage, and we feel unsafe, and we feel not in a good place, and we can't evolve when we're in that space. We cannot evolve. We cannot. And the lack means that we disconnect from our deeper knowing, our ability to trust ourselves and our life. And this then disconnects us from our deep desires of what it is that we want. Yeah. So sometimes it just feels like, I don't know what I want. I don't know where my North Star is anymore, because I'm disconnected from myself. And when we're disconnected, we either ramble aimlessly or we contract. Yeah, we contract. We don't find our way very easily. And so this disconnection from our deepest desires means that we're unable to activate our magnetic potential to manifest and create at the level of our self-actualization. And this is where the problem happens. So that's why I'm talking about the energy. So when we create from our mind, we use strategies that don't work at the level of our self-actualization. We live in scarcity. We are unable to create the evidence for success, and what we create instead is the evidence for lack and scarcity. We create that so it becomes true. Yeah. And so when we don't see money coming in and it's not enough and the resources are not there, we enter this closed loop over and over again. And this closed loop is continuously reinforcing itself, that the existing lack of belief and scarcity. And common beliefs that fit is, if I'm good, I will be rewarded. And if I'm not, I'll be punished. And another one is, if it's meant to be, it will be. And I let go and don't try, or I give up because I don't fight for what I need. And part of that is because we've disconnected from our real potential and we're unable to really get to the truth. Is this a fight worth fighting for? And is this fight not really our path? But if we're clueless, we can't know our path. So what do we do? What do we do? How do we shift? How do we shift and evolve? And I know in the past I said evolve is about love and turning towards yourself. And I'm going to say it again. How do we move from lack to receptivity, co-creation, and wonder? How do we connect back to the energy of God inside us so that we can expand out in the knowing that we're being held in partnership with a higher power? It's a biggie. It's a biggie. Yeah. So there's been a quote that really touched my heart this week. And it's a quote from June Jordan that has, as I said, has been in my mind. And it is, we are the ones that we are waiting for. We are the ones that we are waiting for. We're not waiting for anyone else. So when I was little, I was always waiting for the mother that I wished I'd had. I was always waiting for the father that I wished I had had. And I grieved those people because I wished I had them and they were not that. Yeah. And then when we get older and life struggles and things get to us, then we sit and we wish that we had been who we needed to be. Until we look around and go, actually, we are. We are the only person that is there for us. We are the only person that can truly see us, because when we see us, everybody sees us. When we hide from us, then everybody doesn't see us. And then we're not putting any energy out there. Now, I know might sound a bit of crazy, but I don't necessarily believe in the God, the goddess out there in the form that we think. Okay, when I was little, I thought God was an old man in the sky. And yes, God visited me as the old man in the sky. Yes, when I was little, because that was the template that I created in order for me to understand something. But as a person that's done neuroscience and done a lot of thinking and a lot of discombobulation, it doesn't fit for me. And even though there's a part of me that goes, but you do still believe God is God in the way you do? No. What I do know is the feeling of being loved, belonging, and being safe is what allows us to access that deeper knowing. Gives us the courage to turn towards ourselves and then take the risks, the outward risks that we need to go and evolve. It allows us to be receptive and curious and open so that we can receive what we need to receive and experience wonder and inspiration and so many more things. But those are the key things that I think that really make a difference in how we shift. So here's the thing. When we connect to the feelings of our heart and we move towards ourselves, when we look inside, when we see inside, when we look at a picture of ourselves and we see what a beautiful soul that you are, yeah, this activates the cerebellum. And the cerebellum is that part of our brain that has a one-to-one mapping. It's got as many nerves in the whole of your brain as in your cerebellum. And it has this one-to-one mapping with every part of your body. And why? Because it's the part that tells us where we are in space and time, right? And it gives us this experience of our spatial world, our experience of the endless, basically. It gives us that a sense of no boundary. Just tells us where we are. It doesn't have a boundary as such, right? So we have no perception of that. And it also connects a little bit with our right side of our brain, which is also for processing of spatial aspects. So that part gives us the ability to live in the field. It gives us the ability to live in the field. Now, the field is in that space where when we think a thought, they're not hardwired in our brain. They're not hardwired in the pattern. The thought is the result of interactions in those patterns and the brain's hardwire to give us thoughts that live in the field. Okay? They live in the field where there are no boundaries whatsoever. And in this field, what we perceive, we believe. What we perceive, we believe because we feel it. We feel it, and it can be glorious. And the more we feel it, and the more it's there, the more it activates the reticular orientation system, and the more we're able to see more positive things in our life. We can energetically seek and set an intention for, and our body will automatically start moving outward. Yeah, it automatically starts to do its process of evolving. Okay, so that's spooky. That's what we know about energy. But what really helps that field to really feel true is that I don't know whether you know that always you have electrons that are in pairs, and you always have them opposite each other, so they're in a spin. And that means that they share the energy tightly. That means they're correlated. Now, electrons are moving so fast that before you've even blinked, one electron is already on the other side of the world, the other side of the universe. And so what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, it means that what you do here will affect whatever's on the other side. And it also means that because there is no boundary, only charge. If there is no boundary, only charge means whatever's there affects you. Yeah. And what it also means is if you've got some damn fine ideas and you hold them, somebody else is going to find them. Because guess what? When you're sleeping, those thoughts are correlated. They're going flying. They're going flying. So you may as well do what you need to do. Okay? So this means that, whatever happens to one person is going to happen to another. You're correlated if you know them, if you've experienced them, if you've seen them. But it's also, you're going to affect them if you're part of even your ancestral trace. You will connect to them, which is why we can do ancestral healing and why we can do future healing and ancestral healing. I just knocked myself in the chin, but don't worry about that. So you cannot not influence. You cannot not influence your past. You cannot not influence your future. And you cannot not influence people. So to evolve, we must be aware of the energy we're holding and the energy that others are bringing and choose what it is that we seek. Yeah? We must find that feeling and energy within ourselves first, because we are the mirror to everything we experience out there. So we have to start with ourselves. We are the God, the goddess, all that is. We are that unique aspect of the creator. We formed with the creator by being energy beings. Yeah. When we talk about heaven and earth, we talk about the wave and the particle, the duality of waves and particles. They're both the same thing. But the wave is the air, the energy, and the particle is the earth. Yeah, heaven and earth. We have a connection of the two to create you and me. And this is where we are co-creators, because we are all of that. So that means we have to be smart and really hear what research says. We have to be really clear and hear what the Buddha says and what Jesus says. And really, we only have to follow, if we want anything, we follow steps 1, 2, and 3. Okay? We intend. So we decide what it is that we want. We intend it. We give it a wish. We look for it. We explore it. Then we commit to the outcome. So we've seen it, we see the outcome, and then we commit to it. And then we just trust and we do whatever it is that we do. So I say simple, but of course, if that were easy, you wouldn't be here, nobody would be here, we would all be absolutely perfect. Everyone would be sorted. Yet we've just got a world that's full of people that are still needing support. And we all need to grow, and growing requires discomfort. Yeah, we need to experience the lack so that we know that we can expand, we can evolve into it, so that with the lack, we see the contrast, we feel it, we have to grow into that. But the crazy thing is we have to visualize what it's like before we do the whole thing, so that when we get there, we're pattern matched and we know we've arrived. And then guess what? We only do that for a short period of time and we're ready to evolve some more, because nature doesn't want us to stagnate. It wants us to evolve. It wants us to grow. That's what we were created for. That is the creator. Yeah. But to do this, we have to do things consistently. And that's where the problem is, because we get involved and we get confused and we worry and we think, oh my goodness, it takes time. I've got this to do, I've got that to do, and oh my goodness, we don't do it, right? And so that means that we actually don't build the neural pathways that we need to build. My head just went a little bit over there because I heard the alarm going off. Teach me not to switch it off. So, building neural connections is what we need to do. Building and stamina we need to do. Support is what we need to do. Something that allows us to be consistent and repetitive, because that's the only way that we can change and receive what we want. So, yeah, luckily that's what I do. I help create structure and help you build those structures so that you can safely navigate the field, that you can call on the field and be in the field and connect to your higher power. And that higher power will pull you and you it to get what you want. So what would it be like to be confident and trust in yourself, connected to that bigger you that supports you to achieve your outcome? And it also is there, as you've connected to you, will support you at those times when you fail, so that you can have the confidence to get back up on track. If that's something that interests you and it resonates, I have 5 Sovereign Wave breakthrough calls available. And in that call, we will explore your biggest block and how I might help you so that you can have greater health, wealth, and happiness and sovereignty in your life. I'll put the link in the comments after the live, and thank you for joining me today. And I really want to hear your comments on Evolve and how you thought about this. Did you find it interesting? Did it open up some thinking? I would be really grateful to see and hear what it is that you have on thoughts about this. So take care. Looking forward to seeing your comments, and see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.